I'm going to do a short little shop update here. I'm just showing you the truck. I had brought it in. It's kind of cold out. There was some salt on it, so I didn't wash it. I just took the hose out, rinsed the hose, or tried to get the salt off of it. Sprayed the salt off of the truck, and then kind of sprayed underneath a little bit to get that salt off also. But the shop update's going to start with some work that I had to do on the forklift. I'm just going to throw this in here as part of a little shop update. This is a forklift, but as any of you guys that follow my channel know that we've had this forklift for about 2 years now after the other one got stolen. But that's in a previous video. Why I brought it back in here is ever since we've had this forklift, ever since day one, there's been a couple of issues with it. The first is the brakes, which this is not in here for because I can't really figure out what the issue with the brakes is. But anyways, that's another topic. It's in here because this forklift has always had trouble starting at certain times. Usually when it's cold and it hasn't been started for a while, you'll get in it and the thing will start right up. The problem is when you shut it off after you've ran it for a while and shut it off, sometimes you'll have trouble restarting it. And when I say trouble, you might have to crank it for a good 20-30 minutes before it will not continuously crank it, but try for 20 or 30 minutes to keep cranking it before it will restart. I have an electrician that has a shop next door, and he's been using it for probably the last 6 months because he's moved part of his warehouse from the shop next door to a couple of doors down in the same building. He told me the other day that he had problems getting it started. She was driving it, shut it off, and went to restart it, wouldn't restart. And for some reason, he put a jumper on it, not a jumper, but a charger, a battery charger on it, and the thing started right up. So he thought it was an electrical problem. He tested the battery because that's part of his service work is generators and battery systems on the generators and stuff like that. He tested the battery. He says the battery tested within 90% of its capacity, its cold cranking amp capacity. But he didn't like that, and he kind of thought it was an electrical problem, maybe with the connection. So what I did is I got the battery, I got a new battery, and I'm making a new cable for it. The ground cable is one of those old style connections where the positive cable is like crimped right onto the cable. The ground cable, the connection for the ground terminal on there was one of those things where you clamp it down and bolt it, clamp it and bolt it down in between a pinch connection. He didn't like that. Being an electrician, I kind of took his word for it, and so what I did is went to Napa, got the battery, but they didn't have the ground connection that I wanted, and what I'm doing is soldering up a new cable. So I'll take you over here and show it to you. So this is the new cable that I'm doing, but this is the old ground cable. First of all, it was pinch tight and it didn't fit. You could turn it back and forth. So I had that issue before, and there's actually different connections or different types of cable connectors, post connectors, let me put it that way, that are both for positive and negative, because the negative post is usually smaller on this style battery. So I've got one for that's a post and positive and negative connection, and will have a soldered connection, kind of like I did on this thing, or I did on the new cable. I soldered this connection onto it, pinched it, and then soldered it. But anyways, I just thought I'd show that to you. I'll show it to you when I'm all done. So here is that battery, the new battery in there, and this is a connection that I got for the battery post, for the negative ground battery post. The clamps are different. The post, a positive post is bigger than a negative post, and if you get a positive clamp to put onto that, it doesn't really fit good. But anyways, what I had to do is, because of the different design of the battery, this casing bump out here on both ends wouldn't allow this old bracket to go down over it, and I didn't want it to be sticking up and get that bracket near the positive post on the thing. You wouldn't have been able to get, because it's stuck up so far, you wouldn't have been able to get the cables on correctly to begin with. It would have bumped it up, and you wouldn't have gotten a good fit, and it would have been too close to that positive terminal. But anyways, it's in. I'm not sure if this rectifies a problem, but I'll let you know. This is a hitch that you put a ball on, goes in the receiver or the back of the truck. About a month ago, I made a haul, borrowed a guy's trailer and made a haul of a smaller generator on his trailer to bring back to him. And I got back, and when I took the trailer off with the generator that was on it at his yard, I noticed that the receiver had bent. You can probably see that. It had bent. Now, that trailer was pretty small. I think it has a 12,000 pound capacity, but the trailer probably only weighs a couple of thousand pounds, and the generator, which I had over the axle, so there wasn't that much tongue weight on the thing to begin with, the generator probably only weighed about 3,000 pounds. So I am absolutely stymied about why that broke, but what I did is I took the ball off of it and got a new one to put on it. Originally, I was going to take this off and weld maybe a gusset onto this thing, thinking that it would just hold with maybe a gusset on it. And after I got the ball off of it, I decided totally against that, because this thing is actually cracked in an area. So I would have to heat it up, bend it back, and weld a gusset on that. And I'm thinking, for the amount of money these things are, I think it was like $40 for the new one, that I would just go with the new thing. But this thing is rated for 6,000 pounds, and there sure as hell wasn't anywhere near 6,000 pounds of tongue weight on that thing. I'm not sure whether I had told you about this before. I was pretty sure that I had, but during one of the snowstorms that we had, two of my garage doors got broken. As you can see, there's light coming in over there. It actually pushed the track out, broke the doors. Now, it actually wasn't the plow guy. The plow guy does not plow up to the door. He plows parallel with the building face. Now, some of the snow might have gotten pushed because there's ice that comes off of the roof too. Some of that might have got pushed against it, but it wasn't him. It was actually the snow coming off of the roof and collapsing the door in on the main part. Again, he might have done a little bit of damage by plowing and some of that snow and ice coming back against the door, but the main cause of the door collapsing in was the snow and ice coming off the roof. It happened on this door. It happened on my main overhead door over there, that I drive the cars in and out to get to the lift with. Now that one, because I needed it, we went through the insurance, and it's not just my two doors. There's also two other doors. The neighbor to my right here, his door is gone, and my neighbor to the left over there, one of his rear doors is gone too. So they're going to be replacing four doors in the building. But I had to I took the scissors lift and pushed that door back in so I could get it working again, because I had to use it, because the original estimate was 16 weeks before they could get parts to put in new overhead doors for us. Now, the landlord, the guy that I lease the place off of, talked to them and got them down, got another supplier for them, and got it down to between 8 and 10 weeks. But so that time is supposed to be up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning they're coming in. Now I'm not sure whether they're going to start on my doors, but tomorrow morning they're coming in. So, but anyways, what I had to do is clean out some of this place. If you'll remember, there was an old rack sitting here, like that rack right there. As a matter of fact, that's the A-frame from it. That and the one over there. I cut it up with a torch so I could get it out of the way, and the welding table is on wheels, so I can just wheel that out of the way so that they can get in here with their lifts to do it. But yeah, that's some of the things that have been going on. I also had the forklift truck back in here because they thought there was a leak on it, and it actually didn't turn out to be a leak. Yeah, what had happened is my landlord, one day he came in and dropped that 5-gallon pail with the pinkish type lid on it with a funnel, blue funnel sitting on top of it. He dropped that pail off inside of my door, says it's some hydraulic oil if I needed it. And I couldn't figure out what he had done with it. But on the side of the forklift, I'll try and throw a picture up there, but I'm not sure if I can do that. But on the side of the forklift, there's a step where you crawl up into it, climb up into it. That step is right below where you fill the hydraulic oil. It turns out that he had put hydraulic fluid into the forklift truck and spilled it onto that step platform. Well, there was a hole in that step platform that allowed it to go down inside of a pocket underneath of it. It's just a blank pocket. And one of the welds that holds the fender skirt to form that pocket had cracked, and it was just slowly oozing out of it. But anyways, yeah. I just thought I'd throw that in there. A couple of other things. It's going to be a short shop update, but just that and some other things. So the contractors came in this morning and replaced both overhead doors. Here's the one by the welding table that was replaced. The one that was still damaged pretty bad. The other one, my main door, again, had been operable, but yeah, here's the new one installed. Now what I had him do is disconnect the sensors on the thing so that they weren't there anymore. He thought that was the main problem with the controller. It's just those sensors being out of adjustment all the time. So we're going to try it. I mean, if I have any more problems with it, I'll get that uh, operator replaced and a new style in there. Just a little side note. Um, happened probably on one of the coldest days that we've had so far. Well, no, not the coldest days that we've had so far, but when I left the house this morning, it was 12 degrees, and it's warmed up. I think it's up to 19 now, but again, the doors were off, both doors at the same time. They had two crews working on it at the same time, so both doors have been off, and um, my heater has been running constantly since they got here. But anyways, it's done. Okay, the infamous gooseneck hitches for my trailer. The reason why I'm showing them to you again is because I'm gonna change the thing from a gooseneck to a fifth wheel on my trailer. Um, Kind of the reason I'm doing it, as you know, both of them broke. And I still haven't been able to get the receipt. I made a video about this and said that Bulldog would replace these things if I had the receipt of when I bought the other one. Now, I bought the other one from through the dealer that sold me the trailer, and I paid cash for it, and he was supposed to be looking for the receipt for me, but he's never gotten back to me. In the meantime, somebody contacted me and wanted me to give him a price for bringing a camper trailer with a fifth wheel connection on it from Nebraska, Nebraska back to New York. And I gave him that price because I had an adapter to for that went from the gooseneck into a fifth wheel for my old truck, for my 2011 Ram. But I didn't know whether it would fit into the 2018. So it turns out that it would not fit exactly into it because there were some complications of the way it attached to my gooseneck receiver on the 2018. So just some short video clips here and of me adapting it for it. What I'm doing is working on a fifth wheel hitch to adapt to my 18 Ram. The hitch was originally for the 11 Ram, and it doesn't fit in to the receiver for the gooseneck in the bed of the truck. So I'm adapting a plate or a post for it. I'll show it to you in detail later and explain it to you. Just show you that I'm turning this thing down on the lathe. Just some dimensions I wrote down on a piece of paper so I knew how to build that hitch thing. And here is a fifth wheel hitch. It fits in the bed of the truck. I've got it standing up so because I am working on that pin that goes down through there into the gooseneck adapter in the bed of the truck. There's a plate over there, the fifth wheel plate. I'll kind of show you what I've got going on here in a little bit. I'll take you over to the welding table. I finished turning that down, got it all together, and what I'm going to do is tack it up. And here it is over to the welding table, ready to be tacked up. I cut some of this off of it. I'll go bring it over and show you the piece that I cut off. And there is the piece that I cut off back there. I'm going to tack this up, and then I'll take you over and show you the ball that the gooseneck ball that goes in the bed of my truck now, and explain to you why I couldn't use this thing. But I'll show that to you in a minute. I'm going to tack this up, make sure it fits in, and then weld it out, and then I'll take you over and show it to you. I just threw a coat of black paint onto this thing, hung it up here, and threw a coat of black paint on it. I'll take you over, shut you off, take you over, and show you the ball that comes out of the bed of my truck currently. And I'll tell you what the kind of explain to you what the problem is. At some point in time, I'll take you into the bed of the truck and show you the receiver down there. So here is the ball from the bed of my truck. And as you can see, what happens is there's two balls that go down in there, or that are in the receiver that goes down into the sleeve of the bed of the truck. And as you turn this plastic thing on top, it forces them balls out into the receiver. The only issue is with my old system that the fifth wheel originally was designed for is this is the part that goes down in there, and what there was is two balls in the side of the sleeve that goes, or that was in the truck. And now that's the 2011 Ram. There was two balls in the side of the sleeve, and as you push this thing down in, those balls would pop back out and then pop into this thing. So that's the issue. The issue was this was too big to go down in the receiver of my new truck, and it was reversed. The balls were on the ball that went down in instead of the balls being in the receiver portion of it. But anyways, that's that. I'll show it to you. I'll show you a brief shot of the bed of my truck, and then I'll show it to you after I get it in. Here we are behind the truck. Now, I had shot this video, the same clip yesterday, but I didn't like the way it came out. First of all, the thing was all dirty, dusty, dirty from having been sitting on the rack for a couple of years since the last time I used it. Now, I didn't get a chance. I didn't think to show you, take a shot of the inside of that tube, the sleeve that goes down through, holds it in. But I put it in. I've got it bolted underneath. I'm not going to crawl under there because I just kind of washed this thing off. The reason why I'm shooting this again is I just washed it off and got all that dirt and dust off of it. So it's in there now. That's it. The fifth wheel plate is tipped to the side because of the weight of that arm coming over. As soon as you go up to it, it levels itself up. Now that thing is pivoting so that it will give some pivot to it from side to side should the truck be on uneven ground and the trailer still be on even ground. There is a pivot point in that, and I'll show that to you in a second here. But I just kind of wanted to bring you in and show that to you. Let me see if I can get some, give you some light here, and I'll show you that pivot point. See, it will pivot, and it also pivots this way, of course. Now, I have ordered the fifth wheel adapter for my trailer. So I've got an adapter, instead of having a ball coupling on the bottom that goes into the ball on the bottom of the truck where it used to be, it's got a pin on it, and it's much shorter. It goes up so that there's not a long tube sticking down anymore. But in case it isn't long enough, or it's too long, I can actually lower this down a little bit into the bed of the truck by those holes. That holes, there's an adjustment so that it goes up and down. You can bring it up. Now it might be down again. I didn't look at it since I put it in, but anyways, here that is. I'm probably not going to leave that fifth wheel plate on normally, but I just wanted to get it on, get it all set up, make sure everything works well. What you do is when you're going to hook up to the trailer, you pull this out and slide it over, and then when the pin comes into it, when you back into the pin, it releases it, and then you can lock it in with that pin so that nobody could come along and just pull the handle on it. with unless they took that out, and if they took it out and pulled the handle, that pin will not go back into the hole. In order to line that hole up, it has to be tripped by the pin actually going into it. So somebody can't come along, pull this, pull the pin, and then pull the handle and then put the pin back in. That's not how it works. But anyways, there it is.